on Thursday, January 27th, 1994, and here we are with all of our dear friends from Michigan and Florida. Okay. And we'll,
I'm not your
42
friend.
seconds?
You're our friend. Yes, you are.
I'm not his friend.
Aren't you? Hey, listen, who is your best friend?
He's your
That's
guiding
what I
light.
used to say.
You know, the Lowitches came down. I'm supposed to say your husband. I didn't say that. I didn't say he's not my friend, he's my husband.
It's like, you're no lady, you're his wife.
Let me ask you a question, or else Gene's got me started on this. I read somewhere what you want to do when you get a group together like this is you want to give them a pencil and paper and say, write down what's the most important thing that happened to you. Hi, Howard.
I just want to record this. I may need.
Last year. Now think about that. What would you write for the most important thing that happened to you last year?
That's nice. We'll do that.
Last
every-
night? No.
That's
What were you saying, dear?
nice. I said, that's nice.
Oh, that's all. Is that what the most important thing that happened to you last year? That's nice. Huh? Okay.
We had a life-changing at Elder Hostel. They had us get together in groups.
Did they do that?
They had little groups and they had a life-changing incident.
That's a good idea.
Which-
'cause then
which
you-
Elder Hospital
then it
have
makes
you been to
people
recently?
think.
It does.
I went to a white bath in Washington State.
I had a
You
dull
don't really
one. I read a
know.
dull
Really think of
one.
it.
Well, to me,
I
it's
went to
not
Diamond
anything
Lake
that was
in
real
Oregon.
outstanding. It was
I'm going to Hawaii
the best.
March.
So that's why she came early this year
That's
to
right.
Florida, because she's going to
I
Hawaii.
had to work it in.
And
Jeff's taking over over
That's
there.
what-
Even as far
telling
as
you,
they were there.
telling you
Yeah.
the most
She didn't want
important
to go
thing
to
we did last
Yeah,
year.
the most important
She's
thing.
been there, this is her
Got
seventh
up.
trip.
We haven't been
My
like
tour
that.
director.
That far away.
Well, we were in Seattle all year.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Was that last year? No, no, no.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
We've never
and they
been.
come over for the day or the weekend because it's a nice place to come.
022 say.
I guess right now is one of the most interesting things that's happened
You did.
this last year. Oh, I guess I in the new year.
A little louder, Howard.
Right now is the most interesting thing that's happened to me in 1990.
You got it.
What a lousy time you've had. This was Russ and Mary Youngdahl's 25th anniversary celebration at the Consumers Power Company Conference Center at South Haven, Michigan on Lake Michigan. I think this was about 1971. This is Stan Grandgerard in the center, Russ Youngdahl left of him, Joe McCormick left of Russ. Mac Gwynn, Millie Gwynn, Jean Todd, Velta Grandgerard, Virginia Shimonek, Howard Jensen, Betty Jensen, Claire Gilly, Mary Youngdahl, Vi McCormick, and Eleanor Lowe.
Oh, that's good.
Sit back.
That's good.
He won't put his arm around me.
Well, not for this picture. This isn't an R-rated movie.
No,
Are you taping now?
she's listening to us.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Oh, you were rolling. Well, would you like us to start, or do you want to take
Sure.
a break, or?
You can say happy anniversary or whatever you
Okay.
want to do. Miles.
Ready?
Happy anniversary, Betty and Howard.
We did take some notes, as I have here, as you can see. And we've known Betty and Howard about 40 years, maybe a little bit more than 40 years. We got pretty well acquainted in Flint.
When you were
Howard
a
was in
baby.
the operating department, I was in the engineering department. We'd go out to dinner, have a drink beforehand maybe at somebody's house, and just got to know each other. And then we started taking trips to the Elmwood Casino in Canada. There were about 14 of us, 7 couples. Jensen's, Youngdalls, Lowe's, Todd's, McCormick's, Shimonix. Did I say Todd's?
Yes, you did.
Did that, the Shimonix, Grand Gerards, I don't think I got them. We had some good times over there. We'd see Pat O'Brien and Jane Morgan, and we had a champagne breakfast on Sunday
But
morning.
at night we would dance.
And at night we would dance. And at that dance one evening, I guess Eleanor can tell you better what happened.
Well, we were all on the dance floor. Our whole group was on the dance floor, and one man dropped down on the floor like he was dead. And Betty, being the nurse and the sweetheart she is, she flipped right down on her knees and started to give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And they finally, some doctors came along and pushed her away. And she always felt badly because she didn't feel like they were doing it correctly. But anyway, the man died, but then she was worried about what did he die of, you know, but then she found out. That was one of our less happy moments, but it showed her nursing ability. And let's see, what else? You want me to tell us about my dad or not?
Well, you can. I was going to say we moved to Jackson. We started moving. I think Russ was the first one. And then gradually about 4 or 5 couples moved to Jackson. Let's see.
We still continue this, going to have a drink and going out to eat and surprising people on their birthday.
During that period of time, I made a trailer. It was a pull-out camp trailer, and it was made from some old wheels that Mr. Anthony Elner's father had, and it had a canvas over the top. You had to set it up and everything. And Howard and Betty decided to borrow the trailer to go west. And I know they went to Las Vegas, but I don't know whether they got to
For
California
his brother.
or not. And anyway, he was very concerned about the tires, which were just fair on the trailer, but they took off anyway. And when they got back, they said the trailer tires were in great shape. They lasted the whole trip, but they had to replace all 4 tires on their car. I don't know how they slept. Do you know how they slept?
I don't know exactly, but see, there were only 5 of us, and we slept 2 on each side and 1 in the middle on an army cot. And so anyway, you were all packed in there, and the trailer wasn't quite level. You had to go to the bathroom. You were quite little. You got up and you lost your balance, and you ran right across everybody and fell on your dad's face. I remember hearing that story. We laughed so much when they came back. They had so many funny stories to tell, but they had a great time.
Well, now maybe is a good time for you to tell about Betty and your dad.
And then I had my dad here a few years ago, and your mother was still working, and he had to have his leg amputated. And so I know nothing about nursing at all, and so I get the man in the bed, or they got him in the bed, and here's this young man. I don't think he was even an aide, and it was bleeding, and I don't know what to do about it, and I kept calling nurse, it'll be all right, it'll be all right. So I finally went to the phone and called Betty at work, and so she came in right after work. I don't think she even had anything to eat. She stayed all night with that man, and he is not very easy to take care of. It took these, what kind of pills made him swear and be so ugly, and he was ugly. So the next day, she came walking in like an angel in her white uniform and a rose in her hand. And she says, that's the first time I ever thanked someone that I stayed up all night with that swore at me all night long. That was wonderful of her. Is that the screen door he said after? Because that does not last. I don't want them falling out there.
Okay, this is a picture. You may be able to zoom in on it in a minute, but back in 1966, Howard was sent to Manistee because of a ice and heavy snowstorm, and he stayed up there for about a week. He came home, and then I went up for about 4 days. You can see in this picture how the wire is sagged clear down to the ground, and then at the bottom of the picture is a piece of wire. When the snow and the ice left the wire and it started to go back up again, the steel core in this wire still had its elasticity and pulled back up to normal. But the outside conductors, which are 7 of them wrapped around the steel core, they had gone beyond their elastic limit, and when they went back up, they couldn't go back to normal, so they had to pucker up, and it puckered up like this showing down here, and it usually was round and looked like a bird cage. I've just straightened it out to put it on the picture, but that was a good experience for both Howard and I. Did you get a good picture of that, you think?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see what oh yes, on March 1st, 1976, we probably had the worst storm that consumers had before that and probably after that. We had about 300,000 customers out of service. It was caused by ice, and the storm, after it had its initial shot, then it came back again 3 or 4 days later. Howard was the manager of T&D at that time, and he had a lot of people working. He had approximately 3,000 people working on the storm. There was about 500 outside contractors and about another 500 outside utility crews working. Plus there was our own people and the engineering department, the stores department, technicians, linemen, supervisors, everybody. 8 days later, Howard made a report and said that they still had 30,000 people off, and they expected to have them all back on in 2 or 3 more days, which was the 10th or the 11th of March. That kind of puts together some of the things we've experienced with Howard and Betty and this whole group. And it's a good group. The men work together at their jobs and consumers, and the women backed them up by staying home and taking care of the kids in the home and so on. There originally were about 14 of us, 7 couples in the group, and we've lost 4 of them so far. We hope the rest of them stay around for a while. And so I guess that concludes it again with a happy anniversary, Howard. And here's Betty and Howard, and us and Betty and Howard. We can get a close-up of just those pictures. And
Okay, can you point to him again, Gordon?
Pardon?
Okay, I've got this picture.
Got this one?
Back on the island, yeah.
Back on the island. the Lowe's, the Young Dolls, and the Jensens.
Yeah.
And over here is another picture on Windsor where we're having dinner. And the Shimonakes and the McCormicks, Betty and Howard, the Todds are at the back there, Russ and Mary, Stan and Velda, and us. Okay?
I think
Now
those
let's
are
see,
the
that's
ones.
enough of that then.
Geez, they may have
Unless
those.
you want to get then, here's,
Unless you-
this again is Mackinac Island. They're dressed up for dinner. Hello. Well, hello there.
Anyway, they put these all on these boards for our party, and I didn't even know what was on them.